Okay, and now we've come to probably the hardest part of this entire collection and declutter video, which is my colorful palettes and a lot of my special collab palettes. So we're going to get into this one, but I don't think this one is going to be as ruthless of a declutter as any of the other ones, although none of them are really that ruthless. Let's get into it. The first one is the Zodiac palette with Kathleen Lights. I do think this is really pretty. I love the packaging. If anything, I would take the shades out and keep the packaging, but for now I think I'm going to hang on to it just as it is. Same thing with the Raw Beauty Christie at Foresight. This is a really beautiful, like, grungy color story. I really like this one a lot, so we're going to hang on to that. Cabana Club. This one is definitely really pretty. I like kind of these pops of blue in here. They're kind of beachy vibes, so I'm going to keep that one. Rebel Rouge Labs. This is the Gods and Monsters palette. I love, look at this. Two different sets of artwork. I love how, like, the chaotic energy of it. So cute. And this is a really beautiful color story. I haven't used it as much as I should, but I definitely really like it, so I'm going to hang on to it. But that's why I keep the outer packaging for this one, because it's different. Hauntingly Glamorous palette. This is a collab with Alien Cosmetics and what the heck is the girl's name? They don't put it on here. Well, that's rude. Oh, Sydney Nicole. There we go. Alright, so that's what this looks like. I do think it's very pretty. The shimmer formula in here is pretty nice as well, so I think I'll hang on to it for now. But the mattes, like, sometimes they just don't blend, like, super, super nice, so I definitely need to keep working with it to see if I can get it to work a little better for me. Alright, this is the Futurism Escape Pod from Kaleidos, and it looks like this. The shimmers in this palette are like, shut up and take my money. They're so pretty, so I'm definitely hanging on to this. I hope they stop making palettes so thick, though, because I definitely dislike how big this packaging is. Alright, this one. This is the Tarte Cosmetics Make Believe in Yourself, which is just a foolish name, palette, and it's basically all shimmers except for one matte, and then this really pretty like highlighter shade in here, which kind of has this like golden orange color to it. It's very, very beautiful. It still smells like vanilla, so it's in really good condition. In terms of like quality, is still very buttery and smooth, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one to someone else. This is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This was a gift from my friend Emily, so thank you so much to her. Definitely going to hang on to this. I really love this corner especially, so I want to hang on to this and get some more use out of it. And then Nautical Nonsense palette. I know this is absolutely absurd, and I was never a SpongeBob person, but I do really like the color story. I love the navies in here. These are kind of like pressed glitters, but they're eye safe. And then you have some really beautiful like shimmers through here. This blue is just like next level, so definitely going to hang on to that. Poppy Cosmetics Neon Drip palette. I think I'm going to let this one go because I have some other neons now in my collection that I think I will end up turning to more often. The only thing is that's a really pretty, these are really pretty. But yeah, I think I can go ahead and let this one go because I think I have some other stuff in my collection that I will likely go to more often. This is the Wet n Wild Care Bears palette, which a friend of mine from work got me. So hi Brie, if you're watching. Like I said, I'm not a big into the pressed glitters, but I do like the other colors. This one especially, it's like this marbled blue purple like iridescent shade, and it looks so pretty, so I'm gonna keep this one because I just got it very recently and I want to keep playing with it. Alright, Nomad Cosmetics. This is the Paradise palette. I just put this in my ranking really recently. It's absolutely stunning color story. The only thing is it doesn't have like super deep dark shades. It's very mid-tone, so I wish it had some darker shades, but I get why it doesn't. I really like this. It makes a great companion palette, so I'm gonna keep for sure. And then this palette they actually already discontinued. This was the Beijing palette. I was so happy to get this before they discontinued it because I think it's a really pretty palette. I can respect what the criticism was in terms of, you know, like cultural appropriation, but their brand is very like travel themed in terms of all of their makeup has always been based on different locations, so I thought that was kind of like unfortunate that they got so like ripped up for that. And then they were also kind of criticized because these shades are all quite light, so I can get that too, but you do have a really great black in here, so I personally don't mind it. The shimmers are what I love best about this palette, so keeping for sure. And if you liked this palette, the other way that you could have got those shimmers would be the Animal Rescue palette that they did at Christmas time. I don't know if they'll bring that back. Some more Nomad. This is the Whistler Snow Lodge. Very beautiful, cool toned palette. This shade, ugh, they're all so pretty. I really don't care about this row right here, but that whole rest of the palette is enough for me. The Nomad Land of Ice and Fire palette. I love the little guy sticking out there, so cute. I like this palette a lot. Their formulas are really, really great. There's some beautiful duochromes in here, so keeping for sure. This was their old sort of tropical palette. This is the Antilles palette, which looks like this, and I think it is very pretty. I haven't used it as much as I'd like to, but I'm going to hang on to it for a while. Like I said, I have a hard time letting go of Nomad palettes. This is the Cartagena Mágica palette, and this shade, oh, so pretty. I think that's going to be my replacement for that lemonade shade that I was looking for. But these are really, really pretty shimmers for sure, so hang on to that. And then the Tokyo Harajuku palette, this is probably my favorite one that they ever put out. These duochrome shades down here are so buttery smooth, and I really like the kind of soft pastels that they have here, so we'll keep that. Next, if you know me, you know for sure Moonspell is not going anywhere. It's an absolutely stunning palette. I love the colors that they did. This Fiona shade like sends me, so we're going to hang on to that. This is the Odin's Eye Norns palette, another really beautiful palette from Odin's Eye. Looks like, oof. This is actually a multi-chrome shade here. This is a really beautiful like silver with gold sparkles in it. You've got some sort of marbled shades here, and then these really pretty buttery duochrome shades, so definitely going to be hanging on to that one. I have the Tardius Pro Remix palette here, and I originally was keeping this palette because of this purple and these two blues. It's still definitely, oh my gosh, I can smell the vanilla all the way standing as far back as I am. Definitely is still in good condition, so I think I'm going to let this one go because I have enough other shades like this that I don't need to hang on to it just for that. Then this is the other Odin's Eye palette I have. This is the Alva 2 palette, and it looks like this. Again, there's 2 press glitters in here. I hate that, but they've stopped doing press glitters, so at least they've listened to that feedback. The rest of this palette is really pretty though, so I'm going to hang on to it for sure. And then I have this Zoe Marie Darkest Fantasy palette. This I won in a giveaway on Instagram as well. It looks like this. It's got 3 pressed glitters in it, so I'm not a huge fan of that. I do like these kind of deeper shades here, but I think I have enough of this in other palettes that I can let this one go to a better home. So we'll let that go. And then this one is the color kit. This was a collab between Yes Glitters and Makeup by Abby, and it's basically a rainbow palette with a bunch of shimmers here in the bottom of it. I don't really use this one a whole lot at this point, so I think I can let this one go as well, and somebody else can get some good use. Alright. Pinky Rose, I have the Trilogy collection, so the Exotic Peacock here. The Obsessed palette, and the 80s Baby. I think the Obsessed is probably my least favorite of the 3, but I do like the fact that I have all 3 of them right now, so I'm going to hang on to those. And then speaking of all 3, I also have the Sydney Grace trilogy, so let me just show those real quick. This is Quintessence, which is like my favorite one. This Milky Way shade is so pretty. It's got kind of this soft like mauve-y base with this really pretty blue glitter in it, so that one. And then Radiant Reflection looks like this, half like rosy mauve shades and then half is like kind of earthy shades. And then On the Horizon looks like that. I would say the Radiant Reflection, that second one, is probably my least favorite of the 3, but I do think they're all really pretty in their own right, so I'm going to hang on to all 3 of those. Alright, Then I've got two more of these Sweet Shop palettes. This is Cherry on Top, which is the red one. Absolutely keeping that. It definitely pulls a little bit more pink than red, but it is very pretty. And then Orange Sorbet, which is one of my favorites. These two shades here are so pretty, so hang on to those. I've got two more of these Profusion. I've got the rubies and the neons. Again, I need to do a comparison and ranking for all these, and then I'll probably let some of these go because I don't think I need to hang on to all of them. And then this is the LA Splash Classic Horror palette, which again I think is super cool, and it's basically a grungy matte rainbow, so I hang on to it because it works really nicely to complement some of my singles, so that's staying. I have Odin's Eye Saga Freya palette. This is the Cat's Breath palette, which looks like this. You could also call it the Taco Bell palette if you want. The metallics in this one are really pretty, so I'll definitely be hanging on to that. ColourPop Misunderstood palette, a classic. And this one definitely has some of those darker shades that I let go of the Nubian for, so I'll be hanging on to this one for sure. I guess let's talk some ABH here. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina. This is her palette. Looks really pretty. I love the shades in here that she has, so keep that one. I have Riviera, which I also really like, so keep that. And then Subculture, which I have gotten out of its packaging and have yet to actually use. This one kind of reminds me of the Woma Beauty palette, so I may consider just keeping one of these instead of both of them. So I'm going to set that off to the side. This is the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette. This is a really beautiful, like vibrant, grungy palette, so I'm going to keep that one for sure. And then I have Drench Cosmetics and Neon MUA Lunar Retrograde. This one was really pretty. Looks like this. Every look that I did with this one I was really happy with, so for sure keeping that. And the only Sigma palette that I have is actually the Cinderella palette. I got this one because I loved that it was kind of cool tone, and I love the kind of like smoky vibes that we had in here. Not as much for the like brown side, but this whole side really got me, so definitely going to hang on to that one. And then this is the La Vie d'Emprints collab with BH Cosmetics, which I've been keeping for this shade right here. This one very beautiful shade. It's like so vibrant and pretty, like peach to gold duochrome. I think I probably have some other palettes that have similar colors in it, but I'm not quite ready to let this one go yet, so I'm going to hang on to it. Alright, now comes collabs that I'm not getting rid of. We got Lethal is Dead, which is Teresa is Dead and Lethal Cosmetics. Their palette looks like this. Oh, here's one. They're really pretty. Is this a yellow? White yellow? Yeah. Definitely keeping that one for sure. I have the Odin's Eye and Giant Wolves palette, which looks like this. Definitely not going anywhere. I love how cool toned and dark that is. Love that. I have the Butte Beam Before She Became Batty Bean and Shroud Cosmetics. It's Freaking Bats palette. Very beautiful color story. Definitely not going anywhere. The Kaleidos and Club Nebula palette with Angelica Nyqvist, sorry. This shade right here is so special. I've never seen anything else like it. It's like a green base, but then it has this shimmer that is like green to purple duochrome. Very beautiful, so definitely hanging on to that. And then her second collab was the Hella palette with Odin's Eye, so we'll hang on to that one as well. Very beautiful. This is a multi-chrome down here, and I like how big these pans are, so for sure keeping. And then I have the Pure and Raw Beauty Christie palette, which has a colorful side and a neutral side. I do think it's very pretty, and I love that it's like all her, so hanging on to that. I've got some Sugar Pill capsule palettes. I really like the format of these palettes, so I'm going to hang on to these. And then I have the other two. I just haven't tried them out yet to rank them, so they aren't in my collection just yet. They'll be in a different part of the video. And then these are all the other Juvia's Place palettes I have that are really colorful. This is the Tribe, definitely keeping this one. This like very normal looking shimmer actually pulls a little bit green in its reflection, so keeping that for sure. Warrior 3, this was a gift from my friend Emily. Actually, when I got sick, she sent me this to give me something to cheer me up with. So thank you so much, and I'm going to hang on to that. I have the Zulu. I'm going to hang on to that for now. Festival, which looks like that. And then Saharan, which looks like that. I'm not ready to let any of those go yet, so I'm going to hang on to all of those. And then let's take a look at Subculture and this Wilma Beauty one, because we might be able to let one of these go here. Okay, well then stay out, that's fine. So we've got kind of like a purpley shade and a purpley shade. Those are really similar. And we've got a green and a green. Again, super similar. We've got kind of a beigey yellow and a beigey yellow. Still pretty similar. A red and a red. And this one and this one. These are looking awfully similar, you guys. So, yeah. And then the Subculture has these two shades in it, one of which, or they both are duochrome actually. They're really pretty. So I guess I'll hang on to Subculture and I'll let the Wilma Beauty one go, because I definitely don't think I need both since they are basically the same palette. Alright, and that's everything for this. And that's everything for this particular declutter video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be back with another video very soon. Bye! Okay, P.S. One more palette that I forgot to mention. This is the Heather Austin palette that she did with Addicted Cosmetics, and it's not going anywhere. I think the mattes in this palette are stupid as hell, but I really like the shimmers in this one, so I'm going to keep it. Alright, now we're done.